Okay. Let us continue. Well, okay, chapter 7, I tried fighting the dungeon boss. Well, here it is, the bottom floor. Lorna had spent about 20 minutes in the dungeon where she reached the lowest level, the 9th floor. Getting here was way too easy. It doesn't even feel real. It had helped that the dungeon was primarily designed around solving puzzles and wasn't particularly large or deep. And since Lorna knew the answers to all the puzzles from the get-go, a leisurely walk through a handful of rooms was enough to take her to the bottom. But now I have to fight a boss, right? Hope I'll be okay. Lorna stood in front of a massive door. If she could defeat the boss on the other side and collect the labyrinth core, she would pass the adventurer's exam. First things first, the internet. She opened the wiki guide page on the boss she was about to face. It contained a list of recommended skills and a detailed strategy for how to fight it, but Lorna hesitated. I don't know, this is just a bunch of information. It's kind of hard to get a sense for how strong this thing is going to be. I wish there was something more concrete, like if someone could tell me what fighting it is like. The moment that thought popped into her head, Lorna noticed something on the page. Huh? Comments? She had never noticed it before, but at the bottom of the page was a collection of comments from different people. Who would write something in a place like this? Thought Lorna, somewhat taken aback, but if the internet was a bookshelf for the gods, that meant the ones who had written these comments were... Oh no, it's not from the gods! If you want to think of it this way, the gods are the ones who make... Technically, yes, because... And yet technically not, because sometimes... The wikis are made by the creators of the games, but at the same time, sometimes the people who make the wikis are the fans who play the games as well. Or at least they're able to add things onto it. Like if they run into a glitch or something that happens during a certain point in the game that hasn't been patched out or something, you know? These must be conversations between the gods themselves. Lorna swallowed hard. She was certain whatever was inscribed in this comment section would constitute a conversation of extra-dimensional proportions, the likes of which she couldn't begin to imagine. Is it really okay for me to behold such hallowed words? Well, I've come this far. Okay, here I go. Lorna straightened her resolve as her eyes moved down to the screen to the comment section. Oh, you sweet summer child. You are going to be, very disappointed, probably. As for what was written there... Discussion, 84 comments. Number 79, Anonymous Ninja. What do you mean you won, LMAO? Get out of here with that crap, boy. You must be brain dead, lol. Frickin' try hard, lol. Get a life for real. Number 80, Anonymous Knight. Okay, whatever. You're just mad because you know I'm right. 81, Anonymous Knight. Yo, this guy's so mad right now, I bet his face is red while he was typing. My ass off. Number 82, Anonymous Ninja. Pfft, whatever, bro. I've got no time for losers like you. Unlike you jobless basement dwellers, I actually have shit to do. Blast my ass off. I gotta get to work, so see you later, morons. Lol. By the way, if you keep trying to pick fights with me, I'm gonna dox you, so keep fucking around and find out, lol. Oh, God. Anonymous Partner, 83. What color are your panties? 84, number 84, Anonymous Swordsman. Bruh, you need to log off. Lorna stared at the screen in shock, her mouth agape. When she finally spoke, her voice was trembling. The gods, they're fighting? At least she gathered that much. They were arguing amongst themselves. But they're not the gods, they're just players of the game. She didn't understand the strange dialect they were using, but she was certain they were fighting a war beyond the ken of mere mortals like her. I'm not sure what LOL and LMAO means, but they must be magical words. No! Fudge! Used to cast some kind of spell. Oh no, don't tell me she's gonna try that. I really hope not. There was much Lorna didn't understand, but for now, right, well, I'm just going to pretend I didn't see any of that. Lorna scrolled down quickly and put the comments out of sight, thank you. Then she passed her eyes over yet more words left by the gods. This boss is so damn weak, man. I can't believe a weak-ass loser like this gives out S-rank gear. LMAO, man, the opening movie for this one was peak. I know damage this guy at level 1, it was so easy. Have they seriously not fixed the safe spots on this boss yet? Who cares? I just want them to fix the power creep on anything over S rank. You all seriously think they're ever gonna fix the game balance in Italia? Get real. Okay, so the game name is Italia. Alright. Lorna had trouble comprehending a lot of what she saw, but the fact that the boss was weak came through loud and clear. Based on what the gods are saying, I guess this boss must be really weak. One of them may even defeated it at level 1. Well, it's written on the internet, so it must be true. Of course, this sweet little summer child does not even realize, obviously, what that is not the case, but whatever. This makes me feel a lot better. Lorna had yet to find any lies on the internet, so she felt confident it would be right, this time as well. It also made perfect sense why this task had been chosen for the Adventurer's exam. When she was talking about how she was hoping that she could find information from people who had actually fought it, I was thinking she was going to come across some video footage of the game itself. But then that would kind of come into question, why does it look like this, you know, blah, 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 all the HP attack name, blah, 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 that, and that kind of gave her an existential crisis. But, whatever. I guess it's probably better this way that it doesn't do that. It also makes perfect sense why this task had been chosen for the Adventurer's exam. Okay then, let's get this over with. She moved in front of the large door leading to the boss room. I'm pretty sure I need to say the key words in front of this door. Let's see. It is I, the one card with the number of the beast, right? As soon as she spoke those words, there was a tremendous rumbling and the door opened on its own. The room on the other side was pitch black. Huh? It's so dark I can't see anything. Lorna muttered, making her way into the center of the space. The moment she reached it, drip, drip, drip. Water began to trickle down from above, falling right before her eyes. Lorna looked up. That was when she saw it. Right above her head was a massive, gaping maw lined with countless teeth. What she had thought was a wall in front of her turned out to be the body of a gargantuan black dragon. And this is supposed to be a monster you can beat at level 1 and also take no damage against it. I mean, if you dodge enough times, you can avoid taking damage, but at the same time, being able to defeat something like this at level 1? Really? Really? It seems like something that would be a late game thing. Lorna's mouth fell open and her body froze stiff. Then from behind her came a slam. She looked back and saw the door had sealed her in. I'm stuck. It seemed to be one of those no leaving until the boss is defeated type of situations. Lorna turned timidly back around and her eyes met those of the black dragon. The black dragon's whole body was bound in golden chains, and it looked like a fearsome, wicked god of old. It reminded Lorna of a guard dog, or rather a guard dragon. And the dragon's roar rocked the entire room and made it tremble and quake. The sound had hit Lorna at point-blank range. Silently, she turned around to face the other direction. Nope, 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 no, thank you. Wasn't this thing supposed to be weak? How is this weak? Open up, she screamed, tears in her eyes as she banged on the door. Yeah, I agree. How is this supposed to be weak? I agree with Lorna on this one. But of course the door refused to open. There was no running away from a boss fight. Did the internet lie to me? But the internet's never lied to me. There's no way. Maybe this thing's only weak from the point of view of a god? I think it did say something about how the power scale kind of messes up or something when you're S rank or something, for S rank or above. And isn't she have an SSS rank skill? So of course I guess it would be a little bit stronger. I guess more than a little bit, but whatever. And as Lorna's mind raced, the black dragon lumbered toward her, ripping its chains from their moorings. The fight had already begun. In a panic, Lorna turned her staff toward the dragon. Petite ice, petite ice, petite ice! The ice formed a tremendous wave that assaulted the creature. The fact that she had cast the same starter spell over and over in a panic did not change the fact that she was casting each one with an SSS rank staff. The black dragon let out a pained roar and tried its best to maneuver around the way of the icy barrage. Lorna took advantage of the opening. Come on, internet! She manipulated the screen and she frantically ran around. I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die, I'm gonna die! I need to look up this dragon or else I'll... What? I think I pressed the wrong thing? Oh no, how do I go back? Ah, shit! Registration complete. Content agreement confirmed! Terms of use confirmed. Age confirmed. Payment must be received within 3 days of registration. Contact us at blah 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 blah. If you register by mistake, click here. registered by mistake! Click here! Click here! Ah! Lorna's face turned crimson as she frantically tapped the click here button. Virus detected. Warning, your system is about to crash. To delete, press X. Okay, now. Why? Petite eyes, petite eyes, petite eyes! This went on for a while. Despite her panic, however, Lorna eventually managed to find the information she was after. Boss, Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok. Spawn location, the Twilight Temple, level 83! Oh, no wonder! It did power, the power scale was broken at S rank. Oh, God. Weaknesses, fire, ice, light. Okay, because she was using one of the weaknesses, okay. Weak points in the stomach and wings. Resistances, dark poison, debuffs. Rewards, Apocalypse Dragon equipment guaranteed. Item box expansion plus 50. Apocalypse Dragon Gem 100%. Apocalypse Dragon Scale 70%. Apocalypse Dragon Wing Membrane 20%. Apocalypse Dragon Crown 7%. Details, a hard difficulty boss that can be fought after clearing part 1 of the story. This boss has been present since the first version and is the weakest of the hard bosses. The weakest. If level 83 is the weakest, what is the strongest? That's what I want to know. What's the level cap? Is it, what, 500 or something? Or even 1,000? If that's the case, then yes, that would be weak. Flashes are very effective at blinding it. It also has several weak points to exploit. Finally, the boss area contains a safe spot for avoiding damage. Safe spot? Lorna's still flustered, swiping her hand repeatedly at the screen in an attempt to find more info on the safe spot. The safe spot is behind the stone altar. Oh, over there! At the back of the room, it was a space that looked like it might be used for rituals. According to the internet, the area behind the altar at the top of the stone stairs was a safe spot. Lorna had no time to think things through. Reckless rush! She activated her Reckless Boots equip skill and flew across the room and up the stone stairs. She couldn't break in time, so she stopped herself another way by slamming against the wall. This is the safe spot? There was nothing in the space aside from the stone altar, and it wasn't particularly high up either. She couldn't imagine it providing much defense against the dragon attacks. Looking back, she saw that the dragon was right on her tail. Its roar was filled with rage, and from within the dragon's gaping maw, Lorna could see flames beginning to build. She had read about this on the internet. It was the attack the boss took before it unleashed its breath attack. Or the action, sorry. Ah! Lorna panicked and slid behind the stone altar. At almost the same exact instant, the dragon launched its attack. Ah! That's the roar. Roar! The dragon's roar was followed by a beam of light, its golden hue reminiscent of the twilight sky. Huh? Lorna was confused. For some strange reason, the dragon's breath attack didn't reach all the way to the stone altar. It might have had something to do with the angle from which it was launched. Or maybe it had collided with some kind of barrier, she couldn't be sure. What's more, the black dragon didn't show any signs of trying to climb up after her. Apparently the stairs were too small for it. In other words, the dragon couldn't get close enough to use any physical attacks, nor could it reach Lorna with its breath attack. This spot really is safe. Lorna heaved a sigh of relief. The black dragon continued to ceaselessly fire off its breath attack, but there was nothing to fear. Lorna assumed that whoever had been keeping this dragon here, maybe as a pet, had carefully calculated the layout of the area so as to create the safe spot. If I stand here and hit it with long-range attacks, then she could win. Oh my god, she's gonna freak everybody out when she comes back with all the gear from this thing. Oh my god. And then they're going to have no choice but to accept her, because, I mean, you can't really fail her at this point. Filled with determination, Lorna pointed her staff at the black dragon. Okay, first step, Terra Drain. Lorna zapped the boss's MP, draining it of its ability to fight. Next step, Petite Ice. The internet had said the black dragon was weak to ice, so Lorna poured all the MP she had just drained into a barrage of ice spells. At this point, the black dragon was little more than a massive target. Next step, a little break. Lorna sat down behind the altar and took out the packed lunch she had brought with her. She had been walking a lot today, and this seemed like as good a time as any to recharge. The sweetness of this apple pie is just what I needed. All the while, the black dragon continued to roar and rampage nearby, and after Lorna had finished her apple pie and apple juice... Okay, time for round 2. She went right back to pelting the boss with ice spells. Then, after Lorna had cast the same ice spell many times, something changed. Whoa, it's flying? The black dragon tore apart its chains and took to the air. I'm assuming that once you get it down to a certain amount of HP, it'll start doing that. Oh, I remember reading about this. When its HP gets low, its attack pattern changes. She wondered why it didn't simply go all out from the get-go. Perhaps it had been created in such a way that it was only able to unleash its full power in an emergency. Luckily, the internet had Lorna covered when it came to dealing with this new pattern. Strategy: when its HP drops below 50%, the dragon will begin to attack from the air and strike with its chains. Dealing with the dragon while it's airborne is tricky, so knock it out of the sky with a flash of light. The range of its breath attack is also increased during this phase, and it inflicts poison, paralysis, and confusion. Get ready to dodge as soon as it starts charging its breath attack, or retreat to the safe spot. Right? When it starts to fly, I use Petite Flash. Bang! A flash of light erupted above her. The black dragon groaned and fell out of the air. As it writhed around on the ground, Lorna launched in another terror drain, followed by another barrage of petite ice. Anytime it seemed like the dragon was about to use its breath attack, she would carefully hide behind the altar. And whenever it took to the air, she would use Petite Flash. Alright, looks like I've got its movements down. Lorna did a small fist pump. According to the internet, the gods had this having the high ground. Seriously though, is this dragon just really dumb? Why does it keep repeating the same thing over and over again when it knows it's not going to work? I don't know. It was almost as if its movements followed a set pattern. I kind of feel bad for it. It's like I'm bullying the poor thing. Of course it would kill Lorna if she didn't kill it first, so she took a deep breath and Petite Ice. Unleashed a full-strength blast of ice magic. Ice enveloped the room and froze the black dragon completely. It seemed her final attack had done the trick. The boss exploded in a huge burst of mana light and disappeared, leaving behind a block of ice in the shape of its body. Defeated Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok. You gained 66,600 experience. Level up, level 22 to level 42? Well, I guess it makes sense, but... Skill up, Giant Killer number 2. Giant Killer number 2 to Giant Killer number 3. Skill up, Magic 5 versus Magic... to Magic... no. 7? I think? You learn the Petite Darkness and Petite Barrier starter spells. You learn the Dragon Slayer number 1 skill. Item box slots have been expanded by 50. Obtain title Apocalypse Conqueror. Text recording the experience points and a host of other rewards Lorna had just obtained flashed by her eyes one after another, and that meant, I did it! I beat the dungeon! The moment Lorna spoke those words aloud, poof! A treasure chest appeared on top of the stone altar. Whoa, what's that? She said, reeling. I guess this is my reward? But who would leave something like this here, and why? Actually, where did this thing come from? How did it appear? Indeed, the treasure chest had manifested out of thin air. Though, come to think of it, the internet did mention there will be a reward for defeating the boss. Upon recalling this, Lorna checked the internet again. Let's see. After defeating Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok, you will drop a piece of Apocalypse Dragon equipment that corresponds to the battle style you use during combat. I don't really understand what this item box expansion plus 50 part means, though. It did say that your item box inventory has increased to fit by 50, so that must be what that is. That hardly mattered, though. However, at the end of the day, Lorna would take whatever reward she could get. Besides, who could resist the allure of opening a treasure chest? She reached out, eyes brimming with excitement, and threw open the lid. Wow, a robe! She pulled out a jet black robe. Talk about luck. This is exactly what she'd been hoping for. Yes, I got the equipment I wanted most! Lorna's defense was so low that it became a source of constant anxiety. Even a small scratch from the black dragon could have easily killed her. But now all of that was in the past. Yep, a high attack stat is all well and good, but there's nothing like having a good defense. Lorna wasted no time equipping her new robe and checking out her stats. Lorna Hermit, level 42. HP, 164 out of 164. MP, 96,660 out of 276. Attack, 44 plus 360. Defense, 90 plus 746. Magic attack, 173 plus 3,600. Mind, 173 plus 1,666. Speed, 88 plus 300. Luck, 90. Equipment, weapon, Staff of Worldtree, SSS. Armor, Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok, S. Armor, Reckless Boots, B. Skills, Internet, SSS. Terror Drain, SSS. Enchanted Wings, S. So that's the robe. That's because of the robe. Reckless Rush, B. Magic 7, I think, D. Giant Killer 3, D. Art of Slaughterer, 1, E. Dragon Slayer, 1, C. Titles, The Abandoned One, Yggdrasil's Chosen, Calamity Witch, Lord Slayer, Apocalyptic Conqueror. Wow, I've gotten pretty strong. Lorna hadn't taken a good look at the level up screen when it displayed a moment ago. She was only just now noticing that she had shot up 20 whole levels. At level 40, I'm in the same league as some of the strongest warriors in the kingdom. That made her plenty powerful without even factoring in the modifiers from her equipment. And now her defense was off the charts and her mind had somehow already hit 4 digits. I wasn't even trying that hard. It felt like Lorna was rapidly moving away from the bounds of humanity into something beyond, but setting that aside for the time being, this robe was called the Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok, right? Let's see. She decided to focus on looking up her new equipment instead. Equipment robe, Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok, rank S, type robe. Price, trillion 600 billion shill. Effect. Defense plus 666. Mind 1000 plus 1666. Poison, blindness, instant death resistance plus 66%. Dark resistance plus 66%. Equip skill, enchanted wings S. Effect. Grants a target wing status, last until cancelled. Wing status allows target to fly, ignoring all terrain effects. Details. Apocalypse Dragon Ragnarok used this robe when he was a human king. Oh, so it was a king turned into a dragon. Okay. This flight-bestowing garb is a symbol of the king's avarice and his desire to make the very heavens his own. In the end, it was sealed underground along with its owner. Using the robe's equipped skill, Enchanted Wings enables the player to fly directly to the starting location of a variety of hard difficulty content. During combat, it allows you to attack from above, letting you strike from safety at any time and effectively breaking the game's balance. It's important to note, however, that controls when winged are difficult to master. It's likely to give you a horrible case of motion sickness and make you want to throw up. Caution is advised. Okay, well, it's strong, I know that much. Lorna was completely lost as usual, but the main point seemed to be that the robe came with an equipped skill called Enchanted Wings, and who could ignore the allure of trying out a new skill? Alright, here goes. Enchanted Wings, she called out cheerfully. 2 wings of white light spread out from Lorna's back. Wow, I'm like an angel. Ah! The moment the words left her lips, her body began to float upward. Ah! She floated all the way to the ceiling, bumped her head, and fell back down to the floor. Thankfully, her defense was so high that she barely felt a thing. This thing is going to take a lot of practice to get used to. Being able to fly sounded useful, but this skill was clearly going to be a tough one to master. Anyway, I wonder what this other thing I got is. It says item box expansion plus 50, but what could that possibly mean? Item box expansion plus 50. This is what the reward screen had said. In any case, but rummaging through the treasure chest, Lorna couldn't find anything inside that seemed to fit that description. Maybe I need to call it out like an incantation? Let's see. Item box. She tried saying the words out of pure curiosity, but the moment she did, her staff disappeared from her hand, and a screen appeared in front of her eyes. Inventory, 1 plus 50. I guess this is where my staff went. In a frame underneath the screen, she could see an icon that looked like a staff. She tapped it out of curiosity, and poof! Her staff appeared in her hand. Whoa, it's back! What's going on? This is so convenient. Okay, thankfully she's got something for that. Okay, never mind. Now she can hide the staff if she has to. She was able to figure out how it worked in no time at all. Essentially, it was a skill that let her keep her things in a pocket dimension. This is totally amazing! It had been bundled with her other rewards like a forgettable extra, but this would make carrying her things around infinitely easier. And now she no longer had to worry about her high-ranking gear getting stolen. Yay! With something like this, Lorna could plunder and smuggle to her heart's content. Not that she would, of course. In that case, Lorna eyed the massive gem enshrined in the stone altar. She guessed it was the thing powering the whole dungeon, the labyrinth core. With her new skill, it would be a cinch to bring it back and complete her task for the exam. Okay, then item box, she called, reaching out to touch the labyrinth core. As soon as her fingers brushed it, poof, it was gone. She looked at her item box again and confirmed it had been added. Twilight Temple Labyrinth Core times 1. She would have no problem bringing it back to the entrance now. Alright, time to head back. She was still in the middle of the exam. If she didn't return quickly, the proctor would fail her for taking too much time. That said, she would also fail if she used an item to return to the entrance. Looks like it's time to put the enchanted wings to use. She thought back to the path she had taken to the boss room. The dungeon was ripe with potential shortcuts now that she could fly. It was almost as if the place had been designed for her to try out her new skill. Okay, one more time. Enchanted wings. Once again, wings of light grew out of Lorna's back as she headed off toward the dungeon entrance. Meanwhile, what is going on in here? Wondered Elmina, maniflying the exam's proctor as she took a step into the Twilight Temple. Ever since Lorna Hermit had descended into the dungeon, the very earth had begun to quake and tremble ceaselessly. Elmina had also sensed a tremendous amount of mana and cold air flowing out from deep inside the dungeon. Something wasn't right. The other examinees had already been evacuated. But Elmina, as Guildmaster, had little choice but to investigate the cause of the disturbance. and she was not at all prepared for what she saw inside. Huh? What happened here? The dungeon was frozen solid. Entire hallways were encased in ice. Here and there she saw rows upon rows of monsters turned into frozen sculptures, their faces twisted in horror. There was only one person who could be behind something like this, and yet... impossible! Almina had never heard of magic so powerful. Judging by the residual mana around her, the magic used to do this must have cost thousands of MP. No human was capable of such a feat, and yet what's more... how? Almina came upon the door leading down to the third floor. It had been thrown open. Many adventurers had taken on this dungeon, but no one had ever gotten past the second floor. Almina's entire plan hinged on trapping Lorna Hermit there, and yet... she made it through? It was inconceivable. There was no way to solve the second floor puzzle unless you could decipher the mysterious instructions. And yet the puzzle had been solved, and in such a short amount of time. Don't tell me she couldn't have possibly cleared the dungeon, right? Most adventurers treated dungeons merely as places to gather materials, and they tended to stick to the first few floor levels to do so, staying in areas where there was no traps or puzzles. To even attempt to clear one, a person would need an exorbitant amount of items, traversal skills, and a whole lot of time. A dungeon was not something one cleared like this, all alone and with absolutely no preparation. Ah! Suddenly, Almina felt a chill run down her spine. It felt like someone had grasped her heart in a frozen hand. She instinctively understood what it meant. Something, or someone, was there. Almina looked to the left and right, but she couldn't even see anyone. Yet the feeling was unmistakable. There was an overwhelming presence nearby. Mana scan! The moment she activated the skill, she noticed it. An enormous amount of mana filled the area. It seemed to be coming from every direction. Whoever it was, Almina was already surrounded by their mana, and yet she couldn't see them anywhere. She couldn't breathe. Her teeth began to chatter uncontrollably as she was filled with a primal sense of fear. Just then something passed before her eyes. A white feather had fallen from above. A feather? That was when Almina realized something. There was one place she had yet to look. This mana had to be coming from there. So Almina slowly tilted her head up and... a profound sense of despair overtook her. A shadow was looking down at her. It was floating in the air on divine wings of light. It's her. Almina knew all too well the identity of this creature beyond mortal comprehension. It was Lorna Hermit. What? Has she gotten even stronger? Is this Lorna Hermit's second form, or maybe this was her true form all along? Lorna was now draped in a sinister robe of the darkest black and had wings of light growing from her back. What's more, the mana her body exuded had decreased by an unfathomable amount. It was as though she had feasted on the dungeon's mana and made it her own. I have to get out of here, thought Almina, but her legs wouldn't move. She felt like a tiny ant being glared at by a dragon. As Almina stood in place, frozen in panic. Oh, Miss Examiner! Lorna tore through the air at tremendous speed and in an instant descended in front of her. Oh! This display brought Almina to an unfortunate realization. There was no running away from Lorna Hermit. Look! I brought you the labyrinth core, just like you asked! Lorna held out her hand, and the space around her hand warped and twisted. Suddenly, a massive gem appeared in Lorna's palm. What was that? Did she just use spatial magic? That's the stuff of legends. There are no known skills with that kind of power, and that includes A ranks. And more importantly, the gem in Lorna's hand, there was no mistaking it. It was the fabled labyrinth core. There was no chance it was a fake either. The enormous amount of mana seeping out of it was proof of that. She actually got the labyrinth core. Then it's true. She had already cleared the entire dungeon. Almina's mind went blank. She was so disoriented and confused that she had thought she might throw up. But she knew one thing. Everything she had ever thought she knew about the world had been completely upended. Lorna held out the legendary labyrinth core for Almina as though it were some common bauble. So, I guess I passed the exam, huh? Said Lorna with a big grin. Almina felt so much pressure emanating from that grin that she broke out in a cold sweat. I have to fail you. If I don't, my elite life plan will be... Dude, if she wanted to, the fact that you're so dang scared of her shows that if she wanted to, she could kill you easily. She just killed the fucking dragon down there. I think you would be lucky to even survive the encounter with her. She had to fail Lorna at all costs. Her entire lifestyle depended on it. Tears streamed down Almina's face. All she could muster was a nod. You pass, she replied, deflated. It had all been for naught. There was no way for her to fail Lorna. Why is a monster like this even taking the adventurer's exam? And why did those damn Google heists disown her in the first place? Almina didn't understand, and nothing made sense to her, but she knew her actions today would mean the end of her relationship with the Google Hype family. Her elite lifestyle was over. She didn't regret her decision, though. The reason was simple. Lorna was far more terrifying than the Google Heights could ever be. Oh, right, said Lorna suddenly. She placed her hand on Almina's shoulder. Your life, you should take care of it, okay? What? If you're not careful, Miss Almina, well, you might die, and sooner than you expect. Almina, she thinks it's a threat! She thinks it's a threat! Almina nodded furiously in response. Lorna seemed satisfied, flashing Almina a smile before walking away. A few moments later, when the final echoes of Lorna's footsteps died away, Almina collapsed in a heap. She's going to murder me. I knew it. She took it as a threat. Which she probably didn't mean it to be a threat. She just thought, maybe she seemed so pale or something that maybe her health was starting to go or something, and that's why she was telling her that. The girl's words had been a clear warning. Lorna Hermit did not take kindly to Almina's attempt to trap her. Try that again and I'll kill you, got it? Lorna's smile had said it all. There was no other way to interpret it. Yep, you interpreted wrong. I think, pondered Almina, face blank, I need to go home. I miss my hometown. Okay, so she's going to leave. Okay. Yeah, probably for the best, considering, if you don't, the Google Hives will probably try and get rid of you. Meanwhile, Miss Almina sure is kind. She must have worried about me and entered the dungeon to make sure I was okay. What a nice thing to do. Of course, she thought the best of people. Of course. Lorna hummed as she made her way back to the dungeon's entrance. An internet window floated just ahead of her. Character, Almina Manaflame, Guildmaster of the iPhone Adventurers Guild. Wielder of the A-rank skill Infernal Magic, also known as the Witch of Conflagration. Almina is an elite spellcaster and retainer of the Google Hive family. She's very popular in the fandom, especially in a certain section of the fan art community. Massive spoilers below. Almina dies in Part 1, Chapter 5. Oh, that's why she said that. That explains it. I still can't believe the internet knows when people are going to die. Almina's such a kind person. I'd really hate for anything to happen to her. Lorna didn't understand the bit about when Almina was supposed to die, but now that she'd been warned her of her fate, Lorna hoped the Guildmaster would find some way to avoid it. You should have said, that something bad will happen to you if you stay here, so it's best that you go on home. Or something like that. I guess she kind of warned her about it, but at the same time, her being vague about it and the way she was toward Almina, at least in Almina's eyes, that came off very, very badly. Let's see. Chapter 8. I became an adventurer. The morning after Lorna passed the adventurer's exam, she returned to the guild headquarters to pick up her documentation. Miss Lorna Hermit, here is your adventurer's card. Yay! Lorna took the shiny new card from Almina, and the latter continued her explanation. The adventurer ranks her as follows, from lowest to highest. Iron, bronze, silver, gold, mithril, and orichalcum. So you are starting out as iron rank. Snap. Lorna crushed the brand new card in the palm of her hand. Oopsie. Oopsie! It broke into countless pieces. One of them grazed Almina's face, which was still frozen in a cordial smile. Whoa, Lorna, I'm so sorry. I leveled up so fast in such a short time that I guess I don't know my own strength. Please don't kill me. Huh? What do you mean? For some reason, tears were running down Almina's cheeks. Lorna peered at her in confusion. Maybe the Guildmaster was just tired? Would it be possible for you to make me a new one, she asked? Yeah, because she accidentally snapped it. Because, I mean, she just shot up 20 levels. Of course she's not going to know her own strength. Oh, but of course, we'll make you a new one right away. Why are you crying? Oh, this? It's just allergies. With that, Almina meekly retreated to the back room of the reception area. I always assumed that people with high-ranking skills would be mean and stuck up. She is. But Almina's just a kind person. No, she's just terrified for her own life because you freak her out. Without even realizing you're doing it. Not only has she defended Lorna when everyone in the testing hall was bad-mouthing her, but she had even gone down into the dungeon to check up on her. And now Lorna had rudely destroyed the adventurer's card Almina had only just given her. Despite that, Almina hadn't gotten angry at all. To Lorna, she seemed like a kind of capable older sister. Sorry to keep you waiting, Almina said, reemerging a short while later. Here's your new card. The card Almina held in her hand was made of bronze. But isn't this a bronze rank card? I think it said everyone started out at iron rank. Well, you see, Miss Lorna, your exam was slightly more difficult than usual, so I thought it only right to give you a corresponding boost in rank. Huh? Lorna was a bit confused. As long as it wasn't a mistake, then she supposed there wasn't a problem. Satisfied, she reached out to receive her adventurer's card, but as she did, she's gonna snap this one too. Oopsie! Achoo! Snap. Once again, before Almina's very eyes, Lorna shattered her new card. Oopsie! Why are they made of... why can't you just make them out of stone? Actually, no, stone would probably break too. Please forgive me. And so Lorna had to ask Almina, who was sobbing uncontrollably for some reason, to make her a new card yet again. Just make it a higher rank card, girl! Maybe then it won't break. And despite the fact that issuing a new card usually incurred a fee, Almina said she would waive it, especially for Lorna. Well, Miss Almina sure is kind. I hope I can show her my gratitude someday. The fact that you haven't killed her yet, I think would show her enough gratitude, considering how she thinks of you. Lorna's show of gratitude would almost certainly lead to more suffering for Almina Manaflame, but that's a story for another time. In the end, Lorna received a third new card that day, and for some reason, it was Silver Rank. What's the deal? Why is Almina Manaflame acting like a pushover? The girl was issued a Silver Rank card on her first day. What kind of connection does she have? She must be related to someone in the royal court or something. Damn, she looks innocent enough, but it's probably best not to mess with her. She might have drawn a lot of attention, but Lorna was finally an official adventurer. Okay, so this one is not breaking. Okay. And that's how I got my Adventurers card. Shortly after the events of the Adventurers Guild, Lorna went to see Reinhardt to show off her shiny new license. Whoa, I'd expect nothing less from you, Lorna. His eyes sparkled with pride as if Lorna's achievement were his own, but then he went on to say, I'm so impressed that you were able to pass an exam proctored by Almina Manaflame. You're amazing, Lorna. And you've jumped right to Silver Rank. That's unheard of. You're amazing, Lorna. And despite all that, you're still so calm and cool. I swear you're simply amazing, Lorna. Is something the matter, Lorna? Is anything troubling you? You don't hesitate to tell me. I, Reinhardt Highwind, would gladly walk through fire, water gales, or snow for you. I'm ready to put my life on the line to help. Well, yes. Why are you being so nice? That's probably confusing her. All the praise is very confusing to her. Because she doesn't know that she healed his knee. I don't remember you being so positive last time. Reinhardt had been much more subdued the last time they met. He no longer wore a helmet low over his eyes and a cheerful smile graced his face. Why, it's all thanks to you, Lorna. You healed my leg, and now I have a new lease on life. Oh, so it's because of me that you're acting like this. Reinhardt had been incessantly rambling like a child, meeting his hero for the first time. Until I met you, Lorna, I was little more than a living corpse, but then you came along and saved me. You brought hope back into my life. Or rather, you reminded me just how beautiful this world can be. Oh, I would love nothing more than to become the kind of adventurer who rescues people, just like you, Lorna. Oh, I love him! He's so sweet looking! I love him! Right. Lorna had never intended to save the young man, so his excessive show of gratitude caught her off guard. This guy's kind of creepy. His display was kind of putting her off. And you're already working on your first quest in this adventure, huh? You're amazing, Lorna. Right. Well, it's just collecting some medicinal herbs. It's really no big deal. Well, now, collecting medicinal herbs, that's amazing, Lorna. You're incredibly powerful, but you're still so humble. To think you'd take on such a practical request just to help someone out. You're... take a shot every time I say you're amazing. You'd probably get drunk in no time. No, I just thought it would be a good idea to start with something simple is all. Still doing things in the proper order despite your incredible skills. I swear I'm going to take a shot myself, and I'm going to have to go back and read how many times I've said that. Probably at least 6-7 times. This guy is so annoying. This would be Lorna's first official job as an adventurer. The thought of failing her first quest stressed her out, and she wasn't exactly thrilled about fighting. Not to mention one wrong move in a battle, and she was liable to accidentally cause a natural disaster. When all was said and done, collecting some herbs seemed like the perfect choice. I agree. It shouldn't take magic. Besides, I heard that collecting herbs is a really good way to make money, she said. Really? Collecting herbs? Reinhardt looked at her confused. Though now that you mention it, I've heard that a strange illness has been spreading through town recently. I suppose that would drive up demand for medicinal herbs. I should have known you'd pick the request most likely to benefit the town. You're incredible, Lorna. Okay, so at least he didn't say she was amazing. Reinhardt seemed satisfied with his conclusion that Lorna was doing this out of the goodness of her heart. In truth, Lorna's goal was 100% financial. She needed money. But she wasn't about to correct him. But aren't you worried about going on an adventure all alone, he asked. It could be dangerous. There are so many things to do. Scouting for enemies, combat, carrying all your items, having to do it solo seems like quite the balancing act. You think so? Lorna didn't know much about the finer details of adventuring. Until just a few days ago, things like adventure and combat were completely irrelevant to her life. And so far, everything she'd learned had come from the internet. As a result, what seemed like common sense to Lorna was in fact quite absurd. But she had no way of knowing that. Well, I'll probably be fine, she said. I've got a skill that lets me fly around in the sky, so if things get bad, I can just fly away. It lets you fly? Yep. Lorna demonstrated by using her recently acquired skill, Enchanted Wings. Wings of light spread out from Lorna's back. She looked like some kind of angel. Reinhardt froze in place. Alright, I should probably get going, she said. Mr. Reinhardt? Huh? Oh, right, of course. Well then, safe travels. Okay, And with that, Lorna took to the skies and flew away. Reinhardt watched in shock as she soared through the heavens. Has Lorna been an angel this whole time? No! Of course he would think that, considering the way the spell looked that she used to heal him. It looked like something that an angel could possibly use, and the fact that she's got wings now? Wings of light? I can understand him coming to that conclusion, to be completely honest. When Almina first saw Lorna's wings, she hadn't reacted at all because she was petrified by despair. As a result, Lorna had erroneously assumed that flight skills were fairly common. But the truth was, the idea sounded completely unbelievable to most people. Reinhardt had traveled all across the land on his adventures, and he had never heard of such a skill. You know, whenever I talk to Lorna, I can't help but feel that the world is much larger than I had ever imagined. You aren't wrong, dude. Reinhardt put on a wry smile as he thought about Lorna. Her very existence seemed to defy logic. Alright, first I'm going to focus on my rehab. Then I'll work hard to get as closest to her level as I can. What level are you, dude? Because she's level 42. Having said his piece, Reinhardt went back to swinging his spear.